What do we do now?
Story time?
I think story time. No.
You guys want to listen? You guys willing to listen?
I'm listening. I'm ready to
It's
relax.
it's definitely my trauma. It is my trauma, but it's also good for me though. Okay.
Lay it on me.
All right.
Lay it on me.
So, let's see. How would I start this then? Oh, I think first you guys need to see the tweet real quick that I had. And fucking, you guys can see. Hold on. I'll send it in the group chat real quick.
Yes.
All right.
All right. You can see how bad of a shape I was. Hold on. There you go. Okay. So as of, I'll start from the beginning. As of like 2 years ago or 3 years ago, back when I was like 18 years old, right? There was like a 3-month period where I would go in and out of the hospital, and every time I went, the doctors never really knew what was wrong with me, in terms outside of like there was like some defects I had in my body, but nothing that should have been like, oh, you're dying type of defects, And after a few times going to the hospital, there was one night that I always remember because it was the day that I had my surgery. It was 5 a.m. in the morning. I'm sitting in my bathroom, sitting on my toilet seat. I think I was talking with my dad because I wasn't feeling well. I'm talking to him and I'm like, man, something. I know I've been to the hospital a few times, but this time it doesn't feel right, man. It doesn't feel right, and I'm like crying. I'm like, obviously I'm stressed. I'm like and then my mom comes in, and then she tries to calm me down, and then my dad does the right thing, calls 911, and I go into the ambulance, and I get to the hospital, right? I'm thinking this is gonna be another situation where it's just like, maybe I'm just not feeling right. Maybe it's just a bad headache. Maybe it's just one of those other times that I passed out. I get in, and then as I'm being escorted to a nursing room, I have like all these IVs getting put in me. I'm like, all right, well, this is a lot different than the last time.
Needles.
Yeah, bro, needles scary. I'll get to that part too, bro. That there was like a month period. Oh my god. As I'm like getting escorted to this room, right? I realize this is different. This is a lot different. Maybe this is like the time where maybe I'm like, it's serious now. And I get into the room, right, and I have all these nurses around me. Everyone's like kind of in a rush in a bit, to a certain degree. Like, we gotta, because like my vitals are low right now apparently, as I was told, and everything's messed up. But eventually I get relegated, or kind of relegated to a certain degree, and about 30 minutes pass by. I'm sitting with my mom. Me and her are talking a little bit, and I start just like coughing up like blood clots, like bad blood clots, where it's like, pretty like to equivalent of like maybe a small nosebleed, but just coming out of my mouth over and over and over. And I'm just like, I sound like I'm in really rough shape, right? My mom gets the nurse, and she's like, hey, he's coughing up blood. Something ain't right. And doctors come in, checks on me, and all of a sudden, like 5 minutes later after the checkup, there's like 4 nurses in the room, and I'm looking around, and I'm a little dazed at this point, but I was like, all right, I still don't think it's that serious of a situation. I'm looking around right now, and all of a sudden, we have all these people, and I'm like, and there's like more IVs getting put in, like more liquids getting put into me. And I'm like, I look to my left. I'm still in a daze. I see my mom crying, and I'm looking at her. I'm like, Mom, and I ask, I'm like, am I dying? Am I dying? And she looks at me while crying, and she's, obviously as a mom, she's gonna say no. And I'm just like, I'm staring at her, and obviously she says no, like I said, and then I look off into the distance and just space out and think about all the things I've done in my life. And then everything's just one second, everything goes dark. And then the surgery happens. Surgery. We get into surgery. I don't have the pics on me, but there's like a few pics where right before I'm surgery. So apparently I'm still a bit conscious before the surgery, but I don't remember any of that part. I just remember at one point I asked my mom if I was dying, and then all of a sudden, like 5 minutes later, everything's dark. And then the surgery, like I said, surgery happens. They figure out I was born with like or they knew I had like a bit of a heart defect to a certain degree, but it wasn't anything serious. But they thought that was probably the problem, so they look into it. And as like 5 hours into the surgery, they fixed the thing. They see like a big portion of my heart, big chunk of my heart, purely infected, and like wow, like he doesn't have much time left if we don't get this out. If I didn't go to the hospital that day, that was it. I was done. I wasn't making it tomorrow. And then that, yeah, indeed, man, indeed. Yeah, surgery goes 5 hours later, another 5 hours later, so the 10-hour surgery apparently. And yeah, I mean, I meant it. Yeah, it was like a 10-hour total surgery.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
Christ.
apparently it was a 10-hour total surgery. Yeah. And
oh my goodness.
I eventually wake up, and I like then the picture. I take that picture that I posted in my Twitter in the group chat, and that was like one of the first things I do. And see, the thing is about the rest of this story that's gonna happen. The fact of like me dying, as like an 18-year-old kid, I didn't. I was at the point where I got to land. We were just coming off the dojo land at Champs with Timmy, and we just got fourth. I was like, I made 55 grand for my mom. I think everything will be all right. If I did pass now, I was like that type of kid. I'm like, yeah, this is fine to me. But then like the month leading into this, like this is where like I think my where I recovered so much. Because I had to spend a month in like a hospital bed with a lot of lonely nights, outside of like nurses, right? And like I said, the first day goes. I'll start from the beginning. The first day goes. I'm in like the main part of the hospital. Not like the first 3 days. I'm like in the main part of the hospital where the clinical people who just got like something tragic. Who just got something tragic, like the best part of the hospital. And then I go, after like 3 or 4 days, I go into the normal part of the hospital where people can start visiting now. And after so I like I said, I spent like 4 or 5 days there. And then the 3 weeks I spent in this part of the hospital is like I had filled up my time with a lot of videos. And I am going to say this. I was at a point where I did have like a porn addiction. So there was a point where like 2 or 3 days of those nights I was watching porn. Just gonna say it.
I'm in.
Yeah, I was just gonna say and then I like one of the nights I just woke up. I woke up and I realized like, man, I can't die like this. No, and I can't live the rest of my life like this. So I spent 3 weeks just constantly like going through all the moments of my life in my head and like how do I want to live? Who do I want to like? Who do I? I'm sorry, I need a minute.
Take time, boy. I just want to say thank you for sharing this with us.
Yeah, I've always had a dream to share this to an audience because I wanted to get my story out because I've always wanted to help people. That's what I figured out I've always wanted to do in my life, and that's
fantastic calling.
And I'm glad you're giving me the opportunity to share the story with you.
Absolutely, take as much time as you need, my boy.
Thank you.
I know that's. I don't know anything.
No, yeah, it's.
I bet it's hard. I bet you.
No, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. But yeah, like, and then there's just like the 3 week period of constantly going like in and out of like sadness of like, man, I need to fix my life. I need to fix my life. And it's just like, I spent the last like 3 years just fucking constantly studying my own head and all the thoughts and all the people that I surrounded myself with. Like I got into I found myself into like introducing myself to David Goggins, unironically, and that dude saved my life, man. I went,
cool.
Yeah, that guy is cool, bro. I got into running. I ran a marathon with a fucking like a broken ass heart, and then I got into biking, and there's like the last like 3 years I spent hours at the end of my day, like 2 or 3 hours, just walking alone at night, just talking to myself, like how do I want to live? How do I want to live? And then that's that's pretty much the story of it. That's the sum of it. That's
Well, but let me tell you, Mr. Enemy, I'm glad you're here with us today. I mean, it could have gone a different way, and I'm glad you're here with us today, my boy. Let me tell you that right now.
yeah.
I mean that sincerely, my boy. And thank you for sharing.
No, of
Thank you for
course.
sharing.
Of course, I'm really. I didn't want to bring it up, but I really wanted to take the opportunities. Like, I've always wanted to share this story because I've always enjoyed helping people. I've always enjoyed just like I want the best for everyone because I get it, man. Like I get it. I see all these people who always like come in my chat who like argue with me, or call me names, or call all this or insult me. I'm like, bro, I get it, man. I used to be at that point. It's a lonely fucking life. And no one deserves to live like that. No one deserves to live like that.
Thank you, my boy.
All right.
I'm happy you're here, brother.
Thank you. Thank you. It's
You helped me today.
I'm
You're doing the thing you said to do. I mean, it helped me today. I appreciate you, my boy.
Yeah, I'm at the point now where it doesn't affect me as much, and I obviously still have my problems, but it's like I know where I'm heading, and I'll be all right. I'll be all right.
Fucking fantastic. Fucking fantastic.
Of course, brother. Anytime.
Wow.
All right, let's go. I'm good. I'm good.
Off the night.
Yeah, I'm good. I wanted to. Yeah, I'm glad we get to end the night like that. Thank you.
We did it. We did it. All right.
Yeah.
Perfect, boy.